This is a brief tutorial of how to use the web interface of the Boutros Lab Plotting General package. What you're looking at right now is one of the examples available with the boxplot function. Examples can be found under the drop-down menu here and can be loaded using this load button. So for today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make this particular plot using this web interface. I'll begin by resetting all of the parameters to your default value so that I can show you how to input all of the necessary parameters. So the first thing you'll want to do when you make a plot is figure out what your data input is going to be, and that's done in this bottom section here. So under data input format, you see a drop-down menu of different data sets available. So we have a few R data sets available, as well as a number of Boutros Lab specific data sets. And you can even upload your own file if that is what you're trying to do. So because I'm making the example plot, I'm going to use the example data set. Next, I decide which plotting function I'm going to use, and I know I'm going to make a box plot. If I want to look at the documentation for this box plot function, I can go to the help page. So let's go to that now. Here we see all of the parameters available under the box plot function, as well as an explanation of what each parameter is for. And if we scroll further down, we find that there are examples of how to use this function. So we begin with simple examples, and as you keep scrolling, you'll find more complex examples using more parameters. So let's return to the web interface now. We decide on which function to use and what our data is going to be. We need to set some parameters so that the plot will appear. So under plotting data, we need to input a formula so that the function knows what parts of the data input are going to be used for the plot. So we should take a look at what our data looks like. We can go to the Preview Data tab, and we see that there's an X column and a Y column. So I'm going to go ahead and set a formula. And we see that a plot automatically appears when we change the parameter, and that's because we have Enable Reactive Rendering checked. If we uncheck this, then the preview plot will only change when we click Render Plot. I'm going to leave the reactive rendering on for this example, because this plot is generated quite quickly, so there won't be a lot of waiting. So let's change some more parameters in this plot. Let's say I want to change the color of the inside of the box, and I know the parameter name for that is call, but I don't know where it is in these groupings. Let's pretend I don't know. So I'm going to use a search filter. I'll type that in. And now when we open this, we see that every parameter with that matches that search item will appear. And this is the one I want. Great. So now I've changed the color of my boxes. And I'll go ahead and change a couple more parameters. So I'll start by clearing my search so that everything appears again. And let's see, I'm going to change the label so that X label is value and the Y label is nothing. And then I'm going to change the fonts to make them a little less bold. There, I'm pretty happy with that. If we want to download the code that was used to generate this plot, we can go to this R code tab, and we see the function call used. If we wanted to keep track of what versions we're using to make this plot, so what version of R, what version of plotting general, and what versions of all the dependencies, we go to this versions tab, so we can find all that information here. And then the final tab is methods, and this is if you want to cite plotting general, that's available here, or if you want to add a little explanation in a method section, let's say, that explains what kind of data manipulation is done within the plotting function. For the box plot, there's not too much data manipulation, so the blurb is short, but for some of the other examples, like the heat map function, there's much more work done on the data within the function. So I think we're ready to download the plot. And here we have the download options. You can choose the image format, height and width are in inches, resolution, file name. The description just means that you can put information into the image metadata. So I'm going to write box plot creating using Plot in general. And now that I'm ready, I have the plot. It looks just the way I want it to. I'm going to download the plot. And there you have it. This is how you make a plot using the web interface of Plot in general.